Alright, YouTube. How's it going? Zastavarian here. I just want to say thank you guys so much for looking at my videos. 20,000 views of my review of the E80A M88 Zastava. And I still call the follower in the mag the flower. And there seems to be a little fan club being built around just that. I don't know what I was thinking that day. I was picturing the word follower as I said it, but flower came out, and I think I might have even said it twice on there. So hopefully my terminology will be a little bit better this time. I'm here today to show you the newest addition to the family. I wanted, as much fun as the M88 was, I wanted something still a little lighter and a little smaller for concealed carry. And of course, the fact that it would be so small, if it was something that no one would ever be able to see, detect, obviously if it's properly concealed, no one should be able to see it. But I wanted something that was just tiny enough to blend in, yet powerful enough to get the job done. God forbid you ever have to defend yourself for any reason whatsoever. So I picked this up at a gun show. I've actually had this gun for quite some time now, and I've been meaning to do this review. This is the Ruger LCP 380. It only comes in the 380, I believe. I'm going to try and do another pretty in-depth review of this gun. I've probably put a good 400 or 500 rounds through this thing at the range. I mean, I've put quite some time into this, and I try and keep it clean. I clean the crap out of it every time I'm done shooting it. So I'm going to tell you a couple things about this thing today that I really, really like. A lot of people will say, oh, it's too small, you know, it's too big for my hand. I have pretty small hands, guys. There's not much I have around here I can compare them to. Got a box of goldfish, so we'll compare it to a box of goldfish. Here's a box of goldfish, here's my hand. So hand, goldfish, and goldfish. So my hands aren't very big. This gun, as it fits, do our safety check, nothing in it, fits pretty perfectly in my hand. Nothing in the mag. And I'll tell you, this thing, for what it is, for its size, packs quite a big punch. I mean, this little 380 will kick and kick and kick. And with an 8-pound trigger, double action only, it's a pretty nifty little piece. Now, getting into the firearm, go ahead and pull all this out again. The trigger, 8 pounds, double action. There is no safety on the gun, guys and gals. This safety is the fact that it's a double action trigger. It takes 8 pounds to pull it back. You have a trigger guard. There's your safety. All right. Now we have a polymer frame, so the frame of the gun's plastic. The slide, of course, is steel up here. Takedown is pretty easy, which I'm going to show you in just a sec here. I will get into what it is you'll need. Of course, I usually just use my my knife to pry this little takedown pin out. In the field, if you didn't have anything to take this thing down with and you absolutely needed to take it down with, you could probably find a flat rock, but it's a little strong for a fingernail. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. Then we'll talk a little bit later about more shooting and etc. All right, pry this pin out. Pretty simple, just pops right out. There's a little clip in there, a small retention, kind of like a retention spring. It's just a piece of metal that holds it in. That comes out, okay. Slide, comes forward and off. Here's the frame. And guys, this thing is featherweight, okay, 9.4 ounces without the mag. So this is a very, very light gun. I mean, this right here, this is nothing. Look at this. I mean, this absolutely weighs nothing whatsoever. This is the kind of thing you can carry and almost forget you have it on you. All right. We have, of course, being that it has this tiny little barrel. It's only a couple inches long. 2.75 inches to be exact. And then we have a dual recoil spring. It's actually a spring inside of a spring here as I take it apart off the rod. So we have that spring, and then we have that spring. Okay. Here's your slide. Super easy to clean. Really not much I can say about cleaning this, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just a very, very simple weapon to own and maintain. I picked this up, by the way, I think I already said this, for $280 at that gun show. You'll find it online for $300. But $280, okay, it was $20 less And I'll show you this holster that I got with it too for 15 bucks at the show. The capacity is 6+1. Obviously, I always carry with one in the chamber. I respect your decision not to. If you don't, it's to each his own. For me, I just think that, you know, if I don't have one in the chamber and I'm confident my gun's not going to fire, and of course it's not going to fire, unless it has a reason to, unless I pull my finger back on that trigger, then racking that slide could cost me my life. Just the time it takes to rack that slide back, if there's nothing in that chamber, that's the time that someone else can take to shoot. So again, you know, I try and think as defensively as possible. Okay, so spring goes right back in, and then pries up against the bottom of the barrel right there. Again, very simple. We'll go ahead and slide this back on. It's very well lubed in there. I think I put maybe a little too much gun oil on it. And then the pin just pushes back in place. Pull back slightly, just barely enough to keep the pin from pushing back on you. Of course, it's going to fight me on my video. There it is. Okay. And we'll rack it back. One thing about this gun that I will say, guys, the slide will not stay open. It will not lock open when you run out of your last round. So your last round, the slide closes. Alright, so keep that in mind. Your slide will not stay open. This is nothing really meant for anything fancy. You can get it with a laser grip on the bottom. This is meant for something that is strictly there for when you need it. Ladies, if it matters to you, it does come in pink. I think I've seen it in blue with a blue frame to it. I've seen camo out there, of course black, and I think I've even seen gray, but those are pretty hard to find from what I've seen. Anyway, so here it is. Serial number resides right in there. We'll get into the magazine. Now, okay, you have a 6-round mag. You probably wouldn't think much of it, but you actually do have your little windows here that do display how many rounds you have in there. Pretty cool for something this small. And also on the mag, this bottom piece right here, I know there's a technical term for it, but this bottom piece comes with 2 of them actually. The first one ends at about here. So it just cuts off at the bottom. Now, because this thing is so tiny, you can only really get 2 fingers around it. I have this little piece here, this little part that I put in, that kind of comes down like you see it right here. And this curvature just makes it a little easier, just kind of lets your hand kind of, or your finger rather, kind of hold it in place instead of just kind of being on the end and slipping off. So I feel like you have a little more control, you know, if you had to grab it fast, you know what I mean? It's just, it kind of conforms in there to the bottom of your finger. So again, it's a good feature, and it comes with both of them right from the factory. I do have hollow tips in this firearm. I've shot cheap range ammo with it. Again, nothing too powerful, no plus P, nothing like that. But it will shoot hollow points and regular range ammo just fine. A lot of kick, guys. Even with that dual recoil spring, you figure you have a 380 caliber, right, discharging through a 2.75 millimeter barrel. This thing kicks a lot. What would I compare it to? Easily a 9 millimeter. It's kind of a unique kick. It's not too much push back on the hand as it is just snap the wrist back. I had a friend compare it to the kick of a 40. I don't think it's that powerful. Let's be realistic. But because it's so small, you feel all of that kinetic energy just pop right on your hand. In fact, with a guy with hands as small as mine, if you shoot this too fast, you'll feel a little bit of a pain back here in the fat of your thumb here, just because there's so much kick from this gun. But it's nothing that's unmanageable. It's actually quite predictable with this. The hammer drop is predictable. The trigger feel is predictable. We'll try and get this onto the camera here so you can see when the hammer's pulling. So, okay, right about here, I got resistance. Then I'm going to pull, pull, pull. Before I get back, and I know I just did it, but I'm going to do it again verbally. Safety check. Nothing in here. Nothing in the mag. You can never be too careful. And I don't like to dry fire my weapons very often, but I'm going to do it anyway just to show you. So pull, 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 pull. And there it is. One thing I'll say about this is that the hammer will not drop until the trigger is about all the way to the back of the gun. So it's not going to fire here or here or here. It'll fire when you get all the way back here. So your pull is all that length back there. Again, that's, I think, something that helps justify that it doesn't need a safety. It's a double action, so your hammer has to go all the way back before it'll drop. Just another good feature to have. And then the hammer returns, and there's my resistance again. Now, what did it come with? Well, it comes in this nice little Ruger case here that says Ruger on it conveniently. The gun does fit pretty easily into the case, just like that. Nothing fancy. Just pops right in. I bought this, guys, this little holster. It was, I think it was $15. And this clip can go on either side on this particular holster at a gun show. I don't know who makes it. It was a small company somewhere on the East Coast here. I'll see if I can find their card and maybe mention it in another video. Very great, very nice people. This just happens to fit perfectly in there, just like that. This is my inner waistband holster that I carry it with. And this, check this out, happens to fit perfectly in this case. This is where it goes when it's in the car. And this gun hasn't been in this house for a very, very long period of time. In fact, I just took it in from the car when I started the video, and it was ice cold. It's 20-something degrees outside. So, again, get a little holster for it. This will conceal so well, guys. I mean, this is tiny. This is just so tiny. You figure, I mean, the gun, the length of the gun itself is 5.16 inches. The height is, I believe, 3.6. So, yeah, we're talking, again, something very, very small. Width is 0.82 inches, if it matters. It isn't even a solid inch wide. But, yeah, and of course, alloy steel for the barrel and the slide. Guys, I'll tell you something right now. I've open carried before. While open carrying can be great, especially with awareness and whatnot, I found, and this is just me, but I found that, you know, here in Virginia where it's legal to open carry, it tends to cause a little, in my experience here, you know, please don't bash me, I'm just telling you what I've seen, it tends to cause more panic than it does good. Now, I don't really see a purpose in open carrying this. I mean, someone might notice it, but it's just so small. LCP stands for Light Carry Pistol. This was something that was designed to be concealed. It was designed for something that could go in a purse or in a waistband. Guys, I'm 155, 160 pounds wet. So, you know, it's actually very hard for me to conceal even at the 5 o'clock position on the waist. So this tiny little thing here is something that's just so small. You know, a lot of guys will look at this and they'll say, oh, that tiny little piece of crap, what is that going to do? And then they shoot it and I get a completely different response. There's been maybe 5 or 6 people that have shot this with me at the range. And they've, instantaneously, I've had a couple jaws touch the floor after the first round went off on some guys. It packs quite a punch. It's not, you know, something it's not a big, you know, flashy looking piece. But then again, you know, why would I want that? I'm not brandishing. I want something that only I know about, that's on me if I need it. And I've gotten pretty good at drawing this thing and firing it very, very quickly. Of course, if this was pointed at somebody, and of course, you know, legally here, you don't point a gun at someone. You pull a gun out and you go to draw, it's because you're going to shoot them and you've warned them umpteen times, right? I'm going to go ahead and show you. You see this thing? You probably wouldn't even tell from the, you know, the 21 feet away, especially at night, that anyone even is pointing a gun at you, right? So what I'm saying is it's a gun, but it doesn't necessarily look like a gun until you're like here where you can actually see it. You know, with my hand on this thing, I mean, guys, I'm pretty much covering this thing. The stance looks like I'm holding a gun. But, you know, this is one of those things where you can barely tell that it is a gun until you're close to it, especially at night. However, its purpose remains. It's there for when you need it. It's tiny. It's easy to carry. Guys, the weight of this is a little bit heavier than a cell phone, just because of the slide. I mean, you feel a little bit of the weight in the slide. But it is a very balanced weapon. You do have some grips here on the bottom that help you out a little, especially from when the gun goes to kick. That's where it'll really help because your fingers don't slide over them. And of course, this grip right here, this diamond pattern over here really helps too. Very, very ergonomic, especially if you have small hands, guys. This thing fits perfectly. You look at the curvature of this. The curvature in the back, you have a little bit of curvature in the front, which really helps with getting it into the holster, by the way. It's a very ergonomic piece. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into concealing something tiny. You know, you just want a little extra, you know, pocket carry, whatever it is that suits you. Definitely recommend it. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I think this will wrap up the review. If there's any questions I can answer, please let me know. Again, please subscribe if you can. Helps me know who's out there and who's, you know, really watching. And this, for the record, is called a follower, not a flower. But anyway, I think I've pretty much coined that term at this point. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll have some more reviews coming soon. See you later.